All right. So I've got Jock and Dazzle, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Jock, if you will, just speak up, my friend, and tell me what's going on. Okay.
So in December 2020, Dazzle was diagnosed at the John Hunter Hospital with AML, acute myeloid leukemia.
Yes.
Progressed forward a few months. She had a few rounds of chemotherapy, and then they took her to Sydney, to the Sydney Children's Hospital for a bone marrow transplant.
Wait, how old was she when she had acute leukemia?
13.
She was 13 years old. Can I tell you a story? Can I tell you a story before we go any further?
Yep.
13-year-olds have a lot better immune system than people that are older that get leukemia. Did you know my father got acute leukemia? And I got a call. I was actually 31 years old. I had a practice in Toronto, Canada, and my father, I got a call from my brother, Dr. Marcel Wolf, and he called me and he said, Daryl, guess what? Dad's in the hospital. He's got leukemia. They said he's got 2 weeks to live. I'm only telling you this story because I want you to understand something. You don't know me from Joe, because somebody called me, okay, and they asked me if I would go on with Jock and his daughter today, and I said I would. Understand something, that when we learn how to love and care for ourselves, that's when we bring the thunder down. And anyway, so I was told my father had 2 weeks to live. I told my brother, I said, listen, you get him out of that hospital. He was in the Halifax General Hospital. I said, if he's got 2 weeks to live, I don't care. Let's risk it. Fly him to me to Toronto. That's a long flight. That's an actual flight that would be about 5 hours. And that's a lot for somebody with only 2 weeks to live, yes or no? So my brother had to sign him out. He flew him to me. And I know that you won't believe this, but my father had his leukemia reversed in 6 weeks. And I have documentation to prove that. My father then ended up getting the leukemia coming back 2 years later again, and it took us 6 months. And then it came back the third time, and it took his life. The reality is, if you're unwilling to change your personality, the things you do when you wake up, the things you eat, drink, and think, nothing's going to change. So if I could get you and Dazzle to understand that everything I'm going to go over with you today is not life-threatening, it's not toxic, it's not dangerous, and to Dazzle, would you like to fall in love with yourself, fall in love with life, fall in love having energy, fall in love with not having the fear that you are leaving? The reality is this: we have to have faith in our body's own healing. So I just wanted to tell you that story. And guess what, Jock? I did not know that she had acute leukemia, did I? This is the first time we've talked, yes or no?
That's correct.
So everybody understand that something. This is not a setup. This is not to make me look good or anything like that. Jock, let's go ahead. So 13, she got acute leukemia. Then what happened?
Yep, so she had the bone marrow transplant at the Sydney Children's Hospital in Randwick. They told us that if she didn't have the bone marrow transplant, she wouldn't make it.
Can I say something?
Yep.
For what they know, they're absolutely right. I am not trying to tell you that I cure anybody. I don't cure anything. The body cures itself. And the reality is the medical system coming from a scientific system of drugs and breakthrough miracle cures. That's where they come from. The reality is medical science has forgot about the human body and the human spirit a long time ago. And I'm not trying to put them down. So understand that. It's not me against them. Yeah. So she had the bone marrow transplant, which is very painful, very stressful, okay? And it caused a lot of fear in the family. And then the family causes fear in Dazzle. Remember something. As long as, Jock, you don't know how to take massive personal action to love and care for your daughter, then the reality is there's only fear around you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, keep going with your story, my friend.
Yep, so she had the bone marrow transplant. They told us that there is a disease that any transplant people can get called graft versus host disease.
Yes.
It's the one thing that they don't want her to get, and of course Dazzle got it because Dazzle seems to get the worst side effects of medicine. In her oncologist's words, she said the same thing. She's never seen her child, a human, get so many side effects in the worst case scenarios of medicine, the side effects. So she got the graft-versus-host disease. Days after she had the transplant, Dazzle went into a coma. And she was in a coma for about 10 days. She was on life support. She was on kidney dialysis. Her kidneys, everything was failing and shutting down. I got a phone call. I was living on a farm with my 3 boys.
Yes, sir.
5 hours away. So they said, you need to come down. Your wife can't even talk to you because we've just told her that Dazzle's not going to make it. So I jumped in the car and we headed down as quickly as we could. And we got down there and, yeah, what an intimidating sight to see. Dazzle, you know, hooked up on this life support, kidney dialysis. I've never seen anything like it. And from there on, she's just, the transplant never, her body never really accepted it. As it stands now, though, they say she's complete donor cells from the transplant, but from the side effects of the graft-versus-host disease and the chemotherapy and medicine, it's led us to where she is now. She's had one other bout of oral chemo this time. That was a few months ago, and they said it didn't work.
Can I say something? Can I say something, Jock?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Do you know what chemo is?
Poison?
It's a form of mustard gas. It does have some molecular changes of the mustard gas. And understand, we're not here to say if something works or doesn't work, but after someone has chemo, they have to do what we call advanced water fasting, which is using high vibrational nutraceuticals to actually get rid of the chemo. You do your research, please.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Only 3.2% of the population is alive after using chemo after 5 years. I'm not downing it. I'm not here to judge it. I'm trying to tell you this, that we're going to go over, I would like to go over things like, okay, so she's on drugs now. She's been on drugs the whole time. I get it. All these things have happened. But we need to talk honestly about what her day is like, but keep going up until this point with her medical history. And then we'll go back, because I'm not here to judge her medical history, anyone. So you need to get that. That isn't Dr. Wolf against the medical system. Understand, it's Dr. Wolf here for Dazzle. That's the only reason why I'm on here today. And where are you from, sir?
Yeah. We're in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales.
New South Wales. Well, that's where I am.
Yeah, we're about 4.5 hours from you, I think.
Oh yes. Okay. All right. Well, I wish Dazzle was doing better, because if Dazzle was able to travel, I would have her come here and I would do a consult on her. But I know that that's not the case right now. But the reality is Dazzle, I want you to know that I'll be back in a year or less to do some more trainings. And if you can't visit me, I'll come visit you. But I would love for you to gift you and have you come and take my whole life coach course, which is all about the emotional. Because Dazzle, I'm going to tell you something emotionally. If you were to change your belief systems about yourself and life and love, the body can heal itself. Everything is frequency and everything is vibration. But Jock, please go ahead and tell me about, bring us up to speed to where we are right now.
Yep. So the doctors have told us, due to the side effects of the medicine, the chemo, and everything she's been through, and the graft-versus-host being the main aggressor in the Dazzle situation with her lungs, we're at the stage where they told us that Dazzle needs a double lung transplant, and this graft-versus-host disease is extremely aggressive. Her lung function fluctuates around that 20% mark. That's a combined total of the two. And she's on oxygen all the time at home. You know, she might have a break every now and then from it, but, you know, she can't even walk 5 meters to the toilet and back from her bedroom without, you know, totally losing her breathing, and she turns into a mess. You know, she ends up on the floor in a mess. So her lungs are really struggling at this stage, and we're at a bit of a loggerheads because the hospital system here in Australia have a rule in place that if you're not vaccinated with the COVID jabs, they won't touch you. So they've told Dazzle because she's so sick, she needs 4, or they won't operate. So that's
sir,
where we're at the moment.
first of all, everybody knows my personal opinion about that, and so I'm not going to state it because I told you this is not me coming on with a rebellion thing. But I will say this much. I need you to be as honest as possible because I'm going to tell you something. I want to take the rest of the time here and go through from the moment she rises until she closes her beautiful eyes and what she drinks, thinks, and does. But honestly, I need to know exactly everything and right to the T. There's no judgment here, okay?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, let's just talk about this. And I need to know this exactly. I want to know Dazzle's worst day, not her best day, with eating, drinking, and with what she does. I need to know that, please, because it's not your best day, sir. It's your worst day that's going to bring you down. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to tell you something, and I mean this in my best way. I'm going to tell you that 999 families out of 1,000 do not know how to drink, eat, detoxify, or emotionally love and care for themselves, and it's not your fault. So let's get that off the table right away, that the whole thing is a setup. I mean, come on. People actually believe that the medical system is a healthcare system. It's not. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. Everybody can either decide they think they know or they can figure it out, or if they don't want to figure it out, that's up to them. Okay? Now, let's talk about as soon as Dazzle wakes up in the morning, tell me about her day. Go very slowly, step by step, and you've got to be as close as possible, okay?
Yeah. So Dazzle will wake up, and it's usually morning medication. She might have to have something small to eat first, so her mum will make her a cup of tea. What's the tea you make her? A mole and tea to start off the day, and that has a little bit of lactose-free, unsweetened almond milk in it. And we put, can you grab it? And so we put this syrup in there instead of using sugar. I don't know if it's better, but my wife's going to grab it and I'll show you. So she has
is it called agave?
Agave, you're on the ball, sir.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you something right now.
Yeah.
Take a good look at your daughter. Can you see her cheekbones? Can you see her jaw? No. Your daughter, how much does your daughter weigh? Honestly.
She's about 50, about 60 kilograms, her mum said.
So that would be about 145 pounds. What's her height?
Her height's about 152 centimeters.
Oh boy, can you tell me what that is in feet and inches?
How big is that in feet?
5 feet and 1 leg.
About 5'1".
5'1". So just understand something, and you need to get this right now. If you could reduce, are you ready for this? If you could reduce 35 pounds of infection and inflammation, your daughter would not be in this crisis right now. And you can believe this or not. If you don't bring down the swelling in her body, do you know why your daughter is swelling? Because she has so much infection. The infection causes inflammation, and the inflammation is called inflame. And what that's doing is that is dehydrating her lungs like beef jerky, and it's causing her body to make excess mucus. So the mucus is actually going into the alveoli and drowning her lungs so she can't breathe. Now, you want to know something? You may not want to believe this, but I'm telling you, I don't make false promises. But if you do what I ask you to do, we should see a change within 3 to 4 weeks. A great change in her breathing and in the way she feels, and even just going to the bathroom. I'm telling you this, and you can believe it or not. Okay? We give a money-back guarantee to people for all our consultations and all our treatments. Okay? Our first non-surgical treatment. It's too far to come, but if you could get your daughter here, and if I could go in and do non-surgical, which we've got a course coming. It's called Whole Life Coach Certification. And if your daughter would like to be part of it, I will put on one of my phones if she'd like to lay in bed and start learning about emotions, nutrition, and about life. And I will every day hook up a phone to one of your phones like we did right now, and she can join us. I will or not join us. Now here's the deal. If I were able to go in and work on your daughter's lung area in between her ribs, okay, for 35 to 40 minutes, I would increase her breathing by 30 to 40%. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I just said?
Crazy, yeah.
Okay, so understand something. The infection creates the inflammation, and guess what? Have you ever eaten beef jerky, sir?
Yes.
Now, everybody, please do not take this offensive. Your daughter, her lungs are becoming like beef jerky, okay, that are wrapped in mucus snot. Because what happens, the infection creates the inflammation. Inflame is what it is. It's a flame. And it's actually dehydrating her lungs. And because of that inflammation, she's making mucus, and that's pouring into her alveoli and cutting off her breathing. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not telling you that you could avoid the surgery. I'm telling you that if it was my daughter, we would be moving forward with a very high vibrational, clean diet. And understand the agave, you might as well give her a whole bottle when you're just giving her a little bit. Did you know that all sugar is a poison to her? All sugar is a poison to her.
Yep.
So when we go through this day, I want you to be very honest about the little treats you give her and the other things that you do, because there's things you're doing. And her bowels are not moving. They might move every second day, every third day. She has to squeeze them out, and I want honesty about this. Now understand, if the back door is plugged and in the front door the right stuff's not going in, we need to do only a little bit, and it's an atomic bomb in a situation like this. Understand, there is no such thing as an immune problem, sir. There's such thing as so much inflammation that it's causing the body to lose all its energy. And we have what's called the mitochondria in her lungs. Those mitochondria are becoming calcified and dysfunctional, and they're unable to make ATP, which creates the energy for her lungs to function properly. So there's a science behind it, but understand, if you decide to do anything with me, you will get it at cost. I will do everything I possibly can. I will go through, just so people understand that this is not a Dr. Wolf sales pitch. When we're done here, I will go through why she's in this condition, how she can get out of this condition, and then when it comes to nutraceuticals and things, which are all my products, okay, are complete, organic, pure, the highest vibrational products that you can do. They have no harmful side effects. So let's make that perfectly clear. Now, also in New Zealand, they're trying to make all supplementation and nutraceuticals illegal. They're trying to do it in Canada, and they're coming for Australia too. So people better speak up for their rights. Now, so understand this. Before she takes her medication in the morning, and let her take it. But guess what? Before she takes her medication in the morning, she should be drinking what's called structured water, which has no surface tension. It hydrates into the cells 1,000% better than any other. And we can talk about that later. It's actually a device that never wears down, never breaks, never wears out, never breaks down, takes no electricity, has no moving parts. We'll give you a 90-day money-back guarantee that's going to make all the difference in the world. But understand this. I want this honest. How much does your daughter drink a day? 1 liter? What does she drink a day?
I'll be completely honest, Dr. Wolf. This is a battle that we have all had with Dazzle. It is a nightmare to try and get the child to drink water.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. I'm not trying to cut in, but I'm going to tell you something. If me and Dazzle were to have a one-on-one conversation where she could actually trust me, Dazzle has no love for herself. Something happened to Dazzle before she was of the age of 13. And sir, you might even know something happened to her when she was younger, and it traumatized her. She lost self-respect. She lost love for herself. Do you know what, sir? If I don't like the plants that I have in my house, what's the best way for me to kill them off, sir?
Get rid of them.
Don't water them.
Yeah.
Now understand something, Dazzle. Dazzle needs right now, whether she likes it or not, So Dazzle's drinking. I'm picking up maybe 1 liter a day. How am I doing?
You're probably bang on the money, to be honest.
Oh, listen, sir, whether people want to believe it or not, I don't have to see anybody. I can pick up on their energy and their personality, and I can pick up on yours and your wife's. And the reality is Dazzle went through some real trauma before she got the leukemia, and you better go back there, and you might need to talk to her, you and your wife, and you also, Dazzle needs to, if Dazzle does not learn that she is beautiful, and if she doesn't learn how to totally love herself, we're going nowhere. Because I'll tell you something, and this is what's going on. And Dazzle, you don't have to speak, sweetheart, but I'm going to tell you something. You don't have love for yourself, and you better, girl, because that is feeding your spirit. And that which created the whole universe has loved you unconditionally since the day, well, before you even got here, sweetheart. And we got to teach you that you need to unconditionally love yourself. Let go of all the hate, all the anger, all the resentment that you might have for your parents, or you might have for somebody that disrespected you on some emotional, physical, or psychological level. And we've got to get there. Dazzle, I will work with you one-on-one. I will not charge you, okay? And I want the world to know that you do not have to live like this. And Dazzle, do you actually think that your personality isn't going to decide your outcome? It's going to. Your personality creates your reality. Dazzle, do you think that people that are sad, that they're not depressed, and there is no such thing as depression? Do you think that people who have sad beliefs aren't sad? Do you think people that are happy have happy beliefs? Absolutely. And listen to me, you have to believe in God Almighty, and you've got to believe that you deserve to live and that you can totally have a healthy life. And if you want to buy into that, because guess what? You've bought into some BS system that you're broken, that God turned his back maybe on you, okay, that you're unworthy to heal, you're unworthy to love, and it's BS. And that one is bullshit. And the reality is you've got to love you and respect yourself to bring your vibration up, because I'll tell you something, Dazzle, whether you believe this or not, cancer is turned on, whether it's leukemia or skin cancer or it's a brain tumor, it doesn't matter. It all gets started and fed by your personality and by the beliefs you have. And the reality is that if we don't watch our beliefs and go in there and change them. Now, you're puffy because I already stated, because your diet's not right and because your bowels aren't moving. So now we know that you take in 1 liter of water a day, and Dazzle, in your condition, you need 4 liters. You need 2 liters by noon. And before you even take your drugs, because drugs are totally acidic and they're very toxic on the body. So I'm not telling you never to take drugs. I'm telling you if you're going to take them, you need a liter of warm to hot structured water before you even take your drugs in the morning. Because when you wake up, remember something, Dazzle, you've been constipated before you even had the leukemia. Your bowels never moved, and if I ask your father and mother, they may not know because they didn't go to the bathroom with you, but they don't even know what a good bowel movement is because nobody's taught that. Your large intestine is 85% of your immune system, Dazzle, and if we could get you to do 3 bowel movements a day, approximately 5 to 7 inches long, and if you take your first and second finger, that's how wide your bowel movement should be. And it should be able to come out, it should be able to float. And let me tell you, if you think I'm kidding, I'm telling you that's the first step to get well. And when you wipe your bum, you only have to wipe it slightly. And Dazzle, your parents need to, because right now, because of all your immune system problem, you cannot wipe your bum with white toilet paper. There's a cancer-causing chemical in there when you wipe your anus, and that gets absorbed right into your bloodstream. Whether you believe it or not, we are not awake. Okay, so here's the deal. So you get up in the morning, and what I would suggest you do, Dazzle, is the first thing you need to start doing is what we call belly button therapy. Before you open up your eyes, Dazzle, before you open your eyes and you realize you're awake, I want you to take 6 seconds in, 7 seconds out, and it's called BraveHeart breathing. Because we want to bring in lots of oxygen in and out. We want to put a slight smile on our face so we don't get out of bed on the wrong side, right? And we're going to put a slight smile on our face. We're going to be grateful for our life, and we're already going to picture our healing. Okay, a slight smile. We're going to do belly button therapy, and we're going to do that 1 quart of structured warm to hot water. Now, Dazzle, you don't drink any water in the morning. You take enough water just to get your pills down. You're already dehydrated, and if those pills don't have water, they're going to sit inside of you, and they're going to be creating what we call an acid burn. Drugs are drugs, no matter how you look at it. Now, after she takes her drugs, I need everything. I'm not picking on anybody. I need to know what she does after the drugs, what goes on.
So her mum will take her in. She'll have some